In the last lesson, I quickly mentioned hot reload and showed you how all we have to do is update some code, save it, do the hot reload, and the changes are reflected in our app almost instantaneously. So that's called hot reload. There's also something called hot restart. Let's dive into both of those and explain how they actually work under the hood. So hot reload, just like the name sounds, reloads the app with new changes that were added. The way Flutter builds out your app and your UI is using something called a widget tree. So you can think of a widget tree like a family tree. But instead of people, you have UI components. Whenever you make some changes, for example, maybe someone gets married, when a hot reload happens, only this section that was affected gets updated within your UI. The rest of the family tree stays exactly the same. During a hot reload, it also preserves the app state. So if we go back to our family tree example, let's say this person's birth year is 1996. If they get married, maybe their name changes, this whole section gets updated, but their state, in this example, their birth year, stays exactly the same. Now, hot restart is where this family tree example falls apart a little bit. But let's say the family tree got burnt up in a house fire, and don't worry, everybody is safe and everyone's all good, but the family tree is completely gone. In a hot restart, you basically restart the whole application from scratch. So even the state isn't maintained. For some reason, let's just pretend their birth year is missing and they have to have a new birth year and everything's a clean slate. Let me showcase this again to you within an application because I think here it will make even more sense. So we have our demo application that we start with. Last time we ran it from the terminal, but this time we're going to actually run it through VS Code itself. We do this just because it makes it a little bit nicer. So you can do it by clicking this debug icon up here. You can go to this debug section, click run and debug, or you can even click the function key F5. So we're going to start running it. The reason I like to run it from VS Code is because it does a hot reload automatically whenever you save the file. So it just speeds up your development that much more. So here's that same demo application we started with. Now, you remember hot reload does two things. It updates any UI and preserves app state. So our app state here is 0, or is the counter value. So let's put our app state to 5. Now, we go back to VS Code. Let's do the same change. We're going to change the color to green. Like I said, in VS Code, it's really nice because you can just click Save or Command S, and you should see this update right away. So that will be executing a hot reload. See, it updated real quick. App state is preserved. We have the number 5 still here. The app is all green, and everything works great. Makes your development very fast. Now we ran it through VS Code. Up here, we see the icons. If you hover over them, you see this is the hot reload icon. We can click it again. But since there's no changes and it does it automatically on save, I rarely use this. But this circle with the arrow is a hot restart. So hot restart, we can just click it right now. And remember, the state does not get preserved in a hot restart. So this number 5 should get set back to what it was when we started. And if I click it, you'll see the app gets restarted. You don't really notice much, but you see the app state is gone. So that's hot reload and hot restart. Hot reload maintains the state and only updates affected portions of the widget tree. And hot restart is just a complete fresh slate and restarting the application. Now we mentioned this widget tree. In the next lesson, we're going to explain it and give you a full picture of how Flutter works.